Every woman already knows what you want. The question is, do you know how to make her want to give it to you? This is the point that separates the men who beg from the men who command. Most men enter a conversation with women trying to ask, trying to explain, trying to convince with logic and good arguments why she should give them attention, affection, or whatever it may be. This makes them predictable, emotionally cheap. Men who ask are forgettable men. Men who project power are impossible to ignore. Robert Greene, in the 48 Laws of Power, gets straight to the point. Power isn't begged for, it's projected. And that's exactly what you need to understand today. Because when you activate the right triggers, when you control her perception, and when you dominate the mood of the interaction, she doesn't feel like she was convinced. She feels it was her idea to give you what you wanted from the beginning. And that is the real secret. It's not vulgar manipulation, it's a refined emotional strategy. It's frame control. And finally, it's calibrating your presence and accurately reading the female psyche. What activates a woman's desire isn't logic. It's the feeling that you are a rare man, a man she needs to please, to win over, to deserve. Because deep down, she wants to give it to you. But only when she feels you're the kind of man who doesn't ask. And if you're still using phrases like, "Can I see you today? Do you want to go out with me? Respond to me when you can," you're positioning yourself as someone who awaits approval, who needs permission, who supplicates. And a woman feels this. Her unconscious mind detects weakness disguised as kindness. Women don't react to logic. They react to the perception of power. And power begins when you understand that you're not there to convince. You're there to be inevitable. Today, you'll learn to provoke surrender, to make her want to give it to you. Not because you asked, but because you knew how to lead. This is the game few men master, but those who do never have to ask for anything again. They just receive because they have become impossible to ignore. He who controls the mood, controls the reward. Frame control and emotional leadership. Have you ever entered a conversation that seemed promising, only to realize over time that you were chasing? Trying to pull topics from thin air. Trying to please. Trying to keep her attention alive. That's the first sign you've lost the frame. And when you lose the frame, you lose the game. The frame is the invisible emotional structure that defines who leads the interaction. And whoever leads dictates the mood, the pace, and the reward. If she's in control, you become the man who reacts, who adjusts, who conforms. But when the frame is yours, she feels she needs to impress you. She adapts to your rhythm. She wants to please you because she feels that at any moment, you can choose to stop giving her attention. The dominant frame is a silent posture. It's body language aligned with self-worth. It's the tone of voice, the voice of someone who doesn't need to beg. It's the look of someone who observes more than he tries to convince. It's the natural way of someone who seems to have everything already under control. Most men make a mistake right here. They try to win a woman over with words, promises, and persistence. But a woman isn't listening to your words. She's feeling your vibe. She's testing whether you have the structure to hold the frame or if you'll collapse at the first emotional provocation. Never ask directly. Naturally hint at what you desire. Use phrases that communicate conviction, not need. For example, instead of saying, "I want to see you today," say, "I'm going to be at a certain place, come by if you want." Do you notice the difference? One begs, the other leads. Want a simple test to know if you have the dominant frame or are being led by her? Ask yourself, does she change her plans for you? Does she spontaneously reward you without you asking? Or do you live trying to please her so you don't get discarded? If you are always trying to stay interesting, you don't have the frame, you are its hostage. But when you take control of the interaction's mood, everything changes. She starts looking for your signals, wanting to know what you're thinking, moving around you. Because now she feels that you are the center of the experience. And everything that revolves around you becomes more valuable. Frame is not about forced control. It's about emotional leadership. And every man who masters his own frame masters female surrender. Because she only truly surrenders when she feels she is with someone who doesn't need her, but who knows exactly how to lead her. The reward trigger. How to make her want to give more. There is a brutal difference between the man who begs for attention and the one who receives more than he asked for. This difference isn't in physicality, money, or status. It's in the understanding of a simple but powerful mechanism, the reward trigger. The female mind is designed to value what it earns, not what is constantly available. When you offer your attention, validation, and presence constantly and predictably, she stops valuing it. Because pleasure is in the uncertainty, the contrast, the back and forth that activates the desire to deserve. That's why the secret lies in the retention and release technique. Retention is your ability not to give everything at once, to hold back your replies, to pace your presence, and to not be emotionally accessible every time she calls. Release is the intentional giving, when she earns it, when she invests, when she shows value. That's when you give attention, when you praise, when you get closer, when you reward. This cycle creates an unconscious association. Every time she gives you something, attention, effort, care, she is rewarded. This creates emotional pleasure. And the female brain records this pattern, Giving something to you generates a good feeling. The result? She starts wanting to please you, to give of herself, to give you more than you imagined. Does it seem like manipulation? It's pure psychodynamics. All human behavior is shaped by stimulus and reward. You are just calibrating this with awareness. Because most men do the opposite. They reward disinterest, validate disdain, and intensify their investment when she gives nothing. This only leads to one thing: devaluation. A man who alternates moments of intense presence with controlled absences creates a magnetic effect. She feels she needs to win him back, that she needs to do more, that she needs to offer something. And when she offers and he rewards, the cycle strengthens. But be careful. This isn't about being cold, distant, or indifferent. It's about being a strategist. It's about emotional control. It's knowing when to hold back and when to release. When to make yourself rare and when to make yourself unforgettable. Because when a woman feels she needs to win you over, she starts to compete. And when she competes, she surrenders. She surrenders more than you asked for. Now she feels that each of her gestures is a challenge. She feels that each gesture of yours is a victory. And the man who understands this never plays in reactive mode again. He leads. He rewards. Because she has become emotionally addicted to pleasing you. The abundance mindset. Change the game. Stop asking. Start choosing. The most common mistake a man makes in interactions is entering the game as if he were in debt. As if the simple fact of being in front of a woman demanded a performance, a surrender, a series of concessions just to be accepted. This mindset automatically puts you in an inferior position. And a woman feels this. Every interaction between a man and a woman is a dance of value. A subtle game where someone leads and someone follows. He who asks, loses. He who chooses, commands. And the man who understands this stops chasing approval. He begins to project scarcity, criteria, and emotional authority. When you communicate that you have options, that you are fine with or without her, that your presence is a choice, not a necessity, the game changes completely. Because in the feminine unconscious, there is a primitive trigger: competing for attention increases desire. When she feels she needs to win you, she surrenders. When she feels she already has you, she cools off. The abundance mindset is the greatest invisible aphrodisiac. It's not arrogance, it's posture. It's knowing that, deep down, you're not begging for company. You're evaluating whether that woman has the emotional structure to be part of your world. And this inversion of perception makes her see you as a rare prize. A man who doesn't need to impress because he is already on a mission. You don't ask, do you want to go out with me? You state, I'll be at a certain place, meet me there if you want. This small verbal change carries an ocean of value. It shows that you're not asking for permission. You're communicating presence. You're offering space, not begging for it. The more you practice this pattern, the more natural it becomes. You start to filter coolly. To talk less. To observe more. To move like someone who has an emotional empire to protect. Because, in fact, you do. Your focus, your time, and your energy are valuable resources. And only a woman who understands this will want to give her best to be with you. Stop asking. Start choosing. And see how, instead of justifying yourself to be accepted, you start to be desired for being inaccessible. Because the man who chooses, leads. And the man who leads never has to beg for anything again. He just observes. The secret of provoking surrender. The man who understands female psychology doesn't ask, he provokes surrender. Mystery, one of the greatest strategists in the game of seduction, said, the secret is not to show yourself available, but to show yourself too valuable to be ignored. This phrase precisely encapsulates everything you need to understand about true masculine power. It's not about effort, it's about positioning. It's not about convincing, it's about provoking, leading, and awakening her instinct to surrender. When a man masters the phases of attraction, curiosity, challenge, and reward, he creates a cycle of enchantment. First, she observes. Then, she feels challenged. And finally, she feels pleasure in rewarding him. Genuine female surrender doesn't come from requests. It comes from perception, emotional tension, well-calibrated scarcity, and silent leadership. The man who asks is the same one who proves his value all the time. But the man who provokes surrender just positions himself. He makes her feel that she needs to invest, because if she doesn't, she will lose something rare. She will lose the chance to be with someone who doesn't depend on her, who doesn't beg, who doesn't give in. And it is this feeling that moves a woman to want to give more, to compete, to surprise, to seduce you. Not out of obligation, but out of pure desire. Out of magnetism. Out of an emotional need to be chosen by you. This is the secret behind female behavior. She gives more when she feels she is with a man she could lose. A man who doesn't react, but who chooses with clarity. A man who knows his own worth. Do you want to be the guy who asks? Or the man who receives because she feels she needs to please you? This choice is in every phrase you use, in every look you hold, in every moment you decide to lead the interaction as someone who is on a mission, not in need. Remember, you're not here to ask for space. You're here to occupy space, to make yourself impossible to ignore. And when that happens, she doesn't just surrender. She feels pleasure in surrendering. Because now she's not giving you something out of politeness. She's giving it to you because she feels that if she doesn't, she will lose something that no other woman has access to. And that something is you, in your rarest, most selective, most strategic form. This is the new era of masculine seduction. The end of begging. The beginning of emotional mastery. The era of the man who provokes surrender and receives because he has become non-negotiable, unmistakable, and unforgettable. If you've made it this far, please like and share with a friend who needs more knowledge, and if possible, make a donation and leave a message, a story, or tips. Help us continue this work with excellence. Now that you know how to use the technique, keep following other videos on the Black Pill Femme channel, because here it's only truths. See you next time.